Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we return to talking about the fast food restaurant called Burger King. They've been getting woke, pandering to leftists, and also using interesting and questionable ad campaigns for about a year now. And this month, things appear to be getting worse as they're revealing another version of their now infamous plant-based Whopper burger, which even has a tagline that literally uses the word woke. So now, you guys can't say anything about me using that term to try and clickbait this video. No, Burger King is finally confirming their intent to pander to woke culture directly here, and it's pretty cringe to watch, but also rather hilarious, and this thing should be a good one. Can't wait for you guys to check this video out, and we'll get to that news story shortly too, but first, let's recap things and go over how Burger King got to where they are today. Not to go too far back, but basically, Burger King is a long-running fast food restaurant that started in the United States of America in the 1950s. Originally called Insta Burger King, it was quickly changed to just Burger King, or what I call sometimes BK. And Burger King has always been a big player in fast food since its inception, known by many across the globe for its signature giant cheeseburger dish simply called the Whopper. But BK has been struggling for the better part of a decade now actually, finally falling far behind its main competition, McDonald's of course. They're a similar sort of fast food burger making outlet, and in this day and age with other chicken-based fast food joints catching up on those guys like Chick-fil-A, who has been the #1 most liked fast food chain for a couple years now, and well, of course, there's also Popeyes who's been making waves in fast food recently too, setting marketing and sales records with their much sought after Popeyes chicken sandwich. And with all that said, fading less popular chains like Burger King, they've been forced to get creative with their advertising and menu options in order to try and survive in this day and age with heavy competition. This brings us to about a year ago, last May in 2019, we made our first video about Burger King when they appeared to start getting woke back then. This of course ties into their failing past and them doubling down on this future trying to get woke business, so stay with me here. Essentially, last year Burger King started to pander to the woke, progressive, radical leftist crowds. Sure, they were feigning interest in their issues and acting like they actually cared about things like mental health when they made their now infamous Unhappy Meal a promotion which involved other emotions being put onto their meals as a way to sort of play with and make fun at McDonald's Happy Meal of course. This was also Burger King's way to address mental health, having burgers like Frustrated Meal, Upset Meal, Tired Meal, and other BS like that. And in addition to these unhappy meals, BK also seemed to support the anti-conservative, pro-political violence left-wing side later last year, when they appeared to be tweeting support for the wave of milkshake attacks that happened. That was when people would throw milkshakes at each other at these rallies and events. But it was mainly leftists throwing them at people like Sargon of Akkad and other anti-SJWs in public. And sometimes those shakes weren't just milkshakes either. Sometimes they would put cement in them and other hazardous materials that would actually end up infecting the victims. Pretty messed up. And Burger King had the balls to joke about this and say they're still going to be offering milkshakes, which was a way of implying that people could use them to throw them at political opponents. Not very cool. And also, well, you could even say Burger King's new Impossible Whopper campaign pandered to leftists as well, it being this plant-based sandwich that Burger King made to try and act like they care about the environment and dieting and health or something. All of this woke nonsense from last year, and I can easily say this is all an act for Burger King though. BK just wants to do this to make money, and they don't truly care about these issues or any side whatsoever. And also with things like the Impossible Whopper, they seem to be designing these new plant-based sandwiches as a way to maximize their profits by lowering costs and also duping unsuspecting vegans and vegetarians into trying these things. South Park even did a whole bit about this Burger King Impossible Whopper stuff last year when they made an episode lampooning Burger King and their Impossible plant-based Whopper, which they called goo. They did this whole goo thing, like the plant guy was making goo, which was this plant-based meat alternative that actually turned out to be just as gross or worse than actual meat. South Park also talked about harsh truths like how corporations care little about these causes, unless it can help them make money of course. And also it's worth pointing out how these plant-based burgers, they're not even healthier than the real meat ones. The calories and health stats are strikingly similar, with the added exception that the plant-based sandwiches have a lot more sodium or salt, which can be really bad for you depending on your health and age. And now, in addition to not caring about the causes and not being healthier, well, Burger King is failing on yet another milestone, which is coming to light again thanks to this week's news story. That finally brings us to the new ad in today's issues. A first look at Burger King's new ad campaign can be found on their Facebook page for the BK in the UK or United Kingdom. Apparently our friends across the pond haven't haven't been able to enjoy the new Impossible Whopper yet. And with Burger King releasing it in that new area now, it's also getting a new name now called the Rebel Whopper. Perhaps this is also to tie things in with Britain's currently happening Brexit movement, where their nation is sort of rebelling and leaving the European Union, as they should, and it's about time. Or also, or maybe more likely, this new burger could be called Rebel because Burger King is once again pandering to woke leftists, who always love to make themselves out to be these heroes saving the world with their liberal politics and shit. In addition, leftists always like to pretend they're outside the norm, which is part of what woke even means, it implying you've awakened and discovered something everyone else is still asleep on, sort of like how Neo got pulled out of and awoken from the Matrix. But ironically enough, modern liberals couldn't be further from rebels actually, and nothing proves that better than them being pandered to by big multinational corporations like Burger King. Or you can consider the fact that almost every corporation and all of the internet, Silicon Valley, Hollywood, and the mainstream media, they're all on the sides of the woke left, yet somehow they still try and pretend they're the underdogs, because they can't help but play the victim, and also, they always want to make themselves out to be heroes when obviously they're really not. They're just doing things for their own self-interest. Next, let's get to the actual woke quote here. Here you can see Burger King United Kingdom sharing an image and quote for the Rebel Whopper's new ad campaign. And keep in mind, this is being put in ads on the internet and in newspapers, and also it's being plastered on posters and billboards everywhere in the UK now too. And it dares to say this: Burger King taste of being woke, 100% Whopper, no beef, the Rebel Whopper. What the hell? What does taste of being woke even mean? I would think wokeness would taste like smugness, sort of. A bitter, overly powerful taste that might have smelt interesting at first from far away, but upon getting closer and getting down to it, you realize the wokeness is a bit too much up close. It's an overwhelming, overbearing taste that lingers on long after your progressive meal is finished. At least that's how I would imagine it. But now I'm being told wokeness tastes like a veggie burger, or rather, a plant-based sandwich. You see, here's the other thing about this new Rebel sandwich. Upon further inspection, many are realizing it's not actually vegetarian or vegan at all. Sure, the sandwich and ingredients are all plant-based, but that veggie patty, it's actually being cooked on the same grills and surfaces as the regular meat burgers. This means small crumbs and oils and flavors from the meat burgers will end up on the Rebel burger too, since they're on the same grill, and that's part of the flame-broiled taste and process they use at Burger King. So that means these veggie burgers and the Rebel Whopper, it will still have traces of meat on it. Yikes. And well done, Burger King. It seems you have created a vegetarian option for your menu that vegetarians can't even actually eat. What a gosh darn joke. In fact, Burger King has been under increased scrutiny over its plant-based burger in America too, which come to find out, the Impossible Whopper here isn't vegan either. This article from US News has more details. It's called Burger King Says It Never Promised Impossible Whoppers Were Vegan. Well, that's interesting. And thinking back, it doesn't actually say on these ads that they're vegan or vegetarian anywhere. No, Burger King did their promotion in a sneaky and underhanded way, just advertising their Impossible name and now the Rebel name and Whopper. They just called them meatless sandwiches, 0% beef as the picture puts it here. That's a clever way to entice vegans and vegetarians without directly saying the sandwich is vegan or vegetarian, probably as a way to dupe them into thinking it is when it's really not. Apparently Burger King is now defending itself over some lawsuits because of this too. So let's read on and see where this story goes. Burger King saying it never billed its Impossible Whoppers as vegan or promised to cook them a particular way, said a proposed class action by a vegan customer over the plant-based patties being cooked on the same grills as meat burgers should be thrown out. In a court filing on Thursday, Burger King said plaintiff Philip Williams should have asked how Impossible Whoppers were cooked before ordering one that he said was coated in meat byproducts at an Atlanta drive-thru. Burger King said reasonable customers would ask about its cooking methods, and Williams would have known he could request an alternative method had he done even the smallest amount of investigation on its website or by reading media reports. Williams assumed that an Impossible Whopper would satisfy his own particular strict form of veganism solely because he asked a Burger King restaurant employee to hold the mayo. Burger King said this claim has no basis. Well, there you have it. Vegans are getting tricked into this, certainly, but of course it's really their own damn fault too. I mean, if you really are expecting this much special treatment at a fast food joint, let alone a low-end one like Burger King, well, then you're the one asking for trouble, and you're the one who's tripping. It's also, as Burger King said in this report, unfortunately, if you have that strict of a diet or health plan, it's on you to be more careful about it. You can't go around blaming restaurants and corporations for your own mistakes, unless you're just looking to sue and have a payday. Good luck with that, though. That wouldn't surprise me if that was the case either. I mean, the plaintiff in this case is a vegan, which means they're likely an out-of-control leftist who will of course always play the victim, blaming their mistakes on everyone else. But despite the vegans being wrong here again, Burger King is also wrong too. They're trying to mislead people people clearly. And also, and more upsetting, is they're pandering to woke culture, pretending to care about those progressive politics when really they just want to make more money. Finally, let's end this by talking a bit more about the health aspects of these plant-based burgers at Burger King, because it seems like if those sandwiches aren't there for vegans and vegetarians, then these Impossible and Rebel Whoppers are supposed to be for meat eaters who want less beef in their diets, seemingly because they want to be healthier, right? Now, we already went over how the calories and healthiness are almost equal between the regular and plant-based Whoppers, but let's go over it again and this time read through a Business Insider article that took a deep dive into both sandwiches, comparing them and seeing which one's actually healthier. Here they state, for the calorie counters out there, the Impossible Whopper has 630 calories, only 30 less than the regular Whopper's 660 calorie count, so it's not a healthier low-calorie option. Plus, just because the patty is veggie instead of meat doesn't mean it's full of healthy nutrition. Health and nutrition-wise, it's really not much different than the standard Whopper, but the key is that it's meat-free. I can see the Impossible Whopper being a great option for vegetarians who want a vegetarian fast food option once in a while, or if you just want a burger experience when you want to reduce the amount of meat you eat. I have this marketing image in my head of a group of friends going to Burger King, and the vegetarian members of the group being happy they can get a burger just like their carnivorous friends, like there would actually be many vegetarians in the group. Right, and also, and as the other story went over, the stricter kinds of veggie people won't actually be completely satisfied with this Whopper, since the plant-based ones are cooked on the same grills as the meat ones. In addition to being similar health-wise, again, the plant-based Whoppers also have more salt, so there is that. And this isn't even mentioning all the soy in those veggie patties, which can also have adverse effects on males, specifically. Basically, soy has an element that's similar to estrogen, the female hormone, and that can have very negative effects on men. No, it won't lower your testosterone, but it will raise your estrogen and female hormone counts, which could make you moody, or even you could grow man boobs if you eat soy extensively for far too long. In the end, Burger King's new strategy, although deceptive, misleading, and possibly outright immoral, well, it's certainly working for them regardless. They've had their best year in the last 4, so I don't see this woke, plant-based, left-wing pandering trend stopping with them anytime soon. Perhaps going forward depends on if this new release goes well in the UK, but I have a funny feeling it will do excellent there. Despite this pushback from vegan purists, many in Britain will take this bait from Burger King, because we all know that country is even further to the left and more progressive than we are, and that makes them more likely to go along with this woke culture marketing campaign, which is probably why Burger King is pandering to them in such a shallow, obvious way that's also doubling down from what they did before. I, of course, still don't think eating a Whopper is woke, even if it has a veggie patty, but hey, I'm just a simple man with simple pleasures, and I also won't be caught dead eating any soy-filled monstrosity like this. Give me a real Whopper over that any day, because I'd rather have some actual meat than that soy nonsense. Or even better, I would rather get a real sandwich with proper beef at another restaurant who actually cares about their food's quality. Not to mention, I'd rather support establishments who don't pander to woke culture and leftists, the same people who want to destroy our country, ruin conservatives' lives like myself, and they also want to taint everything we know and love. What do you guys think here? Is Burger King reaching levels of wokeness we haven't seen before? I mean, the mental health related ads last year were one thing, and them supporting milkshakings was another, but now we've got plant-based Whoppers pandering to woke culture and vegans and vegetarians, and them literally using the term woke in their promotions? Come on. Comment your thoughts on everything below, and thanks for watching No Bullshit. Hit that like button to help support this channel, and we'll see y'all next time.